all your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Who's Next with NXT, presented to you by the We Book It podcast. This is your Tuesday night delight, and I'm your host, Virgil, here, the former booking world champ, also the We Book It CEO. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Guys, it was Title Tuesday, NXT Gold Rush episode, and guys, it was exciting to say the least. We got new champions. We got rekindled feuds. We got so much to talk about. Let's get right into it. So, with that being said, first up, we had Chelsea Green and Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry and Thea Hale. The AAA mixed tag team title bout kicked off the show with Hendry and Hale challenging Green and Page for the belts. The women got the match going with a good back and forth exchange before the men tagged in to keep it going. All Ego started to show some frustration when he was unable to get the better of Joe Hendry. While both of these duos could be considered comedy acts, this was not a comedy match, to say the least. All four competitors brought a lot of energy and physicality to the ring. It had some funny moments, but the main focus was making this feel competitive. Hale looked to have the match won with the Kimura on Green, but Page helped break up the hold so his teammate could hit the unprettier for the win. So Green and Page defeated Hale and Hendry. This is one of Joe Hendry's last matches reportedly as a part of the NXT roster, because the contract that Joe Hendry has signed with WWE is a main roster contract. He will not be in NXT for long, I don't think. He's going to be called up here very shortly. Hale and Hendry have already developed into a fun duo. Hale putting Page in the Kimura was pretty funny. Like I said, it was just all in all a pretty good match. Next up, guys, we got Blake Monroe versus Sol Ruca for the NXT North American Women's Championship. But before we get to that match, Josh Briggs attacked Tavion Heights while he was giving an interview in the crowd. And then after the break, the Women's North American title bout began. The last time we saw Ruca in action was a month ago, before she sustained an injury that would lead to her losing both the North American title and the Speed title. This match was her chance to regain that belt that she never lost. While they may have physical similarities like their height, their hair color, and their muscular physiques, Monroe and Ruca are about as different as it gets in the ring. The former champion is more of a high flyer, while the Glamour prefers to ground and pound opponents. This was one of those matches that is hard to put into a nutshell. Most of what they did looked good, but there was something off about how it was paced. It was likely more to do how it was laid out ahead of time than the talent themselves. That being said, this was a solid contest that allowed both women to shine at different times. They worked well together to entertain a lively crowd. Monroe focused heavily on Ruca's injured knee during the second half of the match. When she had the challenger locked in to submission, Zarya ended up throwing in the towel on her behalf to cost her the match. Zarya tried to tend to her friend, but you could see the disappointment plastered across Ruca's face. This could be what finally ends their partnership, and God, it couldn't come soon enough. I mean, I like these two, but I definitely think that they need to break up. I think that they've been held on for a little bit too long. Slow burning, slow teasing this breakup between these two women. But again, like I said, it's going to take them two having to fight each other, and I think it's going to be a good feud between them two. So we'll just have to see what happens. We also had Jordan Grace wearing glasses backstage during a backstage segment that was so big they looked like they might be uncomfortable to wear. I think she might have been trying to play off of her Halloween costume when she dressed up as Daphne, and everybody all over social media was fawning over her, probably for like the first time in a long time. But she is a pretty woman. I just think that a lot of people try to hate on her because she's so muscular, but she's a pretty woman. Ava announced also that John Cena will appear next week to pick the Iron Survivor participants. So excited for that. The champ will be in the building. Next up, we got Dark State and Leon versus Dark State versus Leon Slater and Javon Evans. Before that, Ricky Saints and Oba Femi had a face-to-face confrontation in the ring. Trick Williams interrupted them, but he was attacked by Miles Bourne with a chair to end that segment. In that segment, y'all, between Ricky Saints and Oba Femi lit the world on fire with his promo, y'all. He went ham. He came for Ricky head, and he told him he was his daddy, and he said that daddy's back and he wants his belt back. These two set up a match for NXT Deadline for the NXT Championship. So a rematch from their last match. And if it's anything like their last match, y'all, I'm telling you, it's going to be fire. Ricky Saints didn't look so strong in this match, though. I mean, in this promo battle between him and Oba Femi. I guess it was like to make Oba Femi. The goal here was to make Oba Femi look good, and I mean, he did. He did just that. He looked strong. He looked like, the man that ran NXT for, the last 6-7 months. And again, he looked like he was ready and poised to take back his mantle as the leader of NXT. Like he wants his championship back. I don't think he'll win it back. I think Ricky retains, but I think it's still going to be a very good match between these two. Up next, we have the tag team title match with Javon Evans and Leon Slater challenging Dark State. Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin represented their group as the bell rang. The young OG and Slater took control with some high-flying offense, but it didn't last long. You knew they were going to have to get grounded. So Lennox and Griffin had a big power advantage and made sure to use it to control their opponents as much as possible. The High Flyers proved to be hard to handle at times, which helped make this feel competitive right out the gate. As usual, the other member of Dark State tried to help any way they could. Evans accidentally hit his own partner with a frog splash while trying to break up a pin, and it led to Griffin getting the pin for his team, and they ended up retaining those NXT Tag Team Championships. Again, this was a really good match. Dark State looked strong. It was a high-energy performance for the young OG and Slater. But I think it's the right call to have Dark State hold on to their titles. Like I said, they just got them back from the Hardys. There's no reason to have to give the young OG and Slater the championships just that quickly. Which shout out to Javon to Javon Evans, who not only participated in the John Cena the Last Time Is Now tournament, but also at the same time was appearing on NXT, also was on SmackDown, has done so much for WWE. He's the future at 21 years old. Like I said, if this guy keeps his nose clean, he's going to be the guy. So let's make no mistake about that. He is going to be the guy. All right. So, and for our final match, Tatum Paxley versus JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship. So, the first couple of minutes saw them exchange several takedowns and counters. Some look great, but some look sloppier than they should for a main event. They seem to find their groove eventually, and things smoothed out a bit. Paxley has grown a lot over the past year and feels closer to being a complete character, but Jane outclasses almost everyone in NXT. She is great on the mic, in the ring, and every situation WWE has put her in. And a somewhat surprising outcome, they put the NXT Championship back on JC Jane, winning her match after Izzy Dame took out Paxley with a kick at ringside to officially turn the culling against her, which sucks for her, but you could kind of tell that this was on the rise. If you guys have been following and watching these episodes, you understand that that's not how the culling rolls. The stuff that she was doing is babyface stuff. Culling is a heel group. Eventually they were going to turn on her. And like I said, they kept telling her not to defend her championship, not to put it on the line, be smart about your title. They're trying to teach her the heel tactic ways of doing things. She wasn't going for it. She said she wanted to be a fighting champion. She said she wanted to, be able to defend her championship whenever she had to. And she said she wanted the women in the back to respect her. That sounds nothing like a heel. That sounds like straight up babyface work, which is what she was all about. And in turn, it ended up costing her friendship with these people. So, and it also ended up costing Tatum Paxley her championship. So again, like I said, all in all, it was a good episode of NXT. I would rate this a B minus. Like I said, a good Gold Rush episode. I loved what we got from NXT's champion Ricky Saints and Oba Femi. Really, Oba Femi looking strong, looking powerful, looking like he's ready to come back and reclaim what was his. I love that they set that match up. I also love that Bourne and Trick Williams are going to go at it. And yeah, man, it's going to be an exciting time at NXT. Listen, tell me, guys, in the comment section, what was your favorite match? What did you like the most? And let me know if you guys have any other thoughts or anything else you want me to cover in NXT. Listen, I appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, keep those book and pencils sharp. Keep on